Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. While we are here with a Dolphins video, I am here with quite an interesting video. And we're going to be taking a back in time trip to the Dolphins Bullygate scandal in 2013. And let's just say the impact this Bullygate scandal had on this team ended up revealing, not revealing actually, but it ended up affecting the season that they had. So with that being said, let's get this, what will be a little bit of a longer video than normal, underway. It was always the worst kind of lie. One that was convenient and believable. One NFL lawyers could sell to move on. One Miami Dolphins officials signed off on for added public credibility. And one that, after for more than a decade of damaging lives, now is officially can be called the lie it was all along. Jonathan Martin told ESPN, "I never believed for a second I was being bullied." I remember this scandal briefly because I started being a fan of the Dolphins since the beginning of the Ryan Tannehill era. I am not an adult, but I am definitely in the high school stage of my career where I am talking about graduation. I'm not a senior, but we're talking about it and talking about college trips, so I'll give you guys that. So I was really young when this happened, and I remember learning it. It was a little bit hard to understand when you're so young, but this is easily the saddest chapter in Dolphins history, and this saddest chapter just keeps getting sadder. Literally, Martin could have come out and said this at the start of the Bullygate back in 2014 and ended it. Now, it was believed that it started back in 2013 when this whole thing started, and then he revealed it in 14. But he could have told NFL investigator Ted Wells and changed the conclusion the league was bent on making. Martin could have told Dolphins owner Steve Ross and saved several good careers, teammates, coaches, and good support staff trainer like Kevin O'Neal, who was named the NFL Trainer of the Year by peers, even as he was being fired apparently for not cooperating with the league investigation showed he tried to help all players involved. Martin has been trying to fix the story for 10 years allegedly, and I'm a little bit questioning of how. Richie Incognito, ever since this came out, this man, I kid you not, has gone off on social media. The heretofore bully of the Bullygate, Richie Incognito, on social media Sunday while posting a story of Martin admitting the truth. This Bullygate ruined a season for the Dolphins and had several good men's careers, but had more emotional complexity at its center than the simpleton ideas delivered at its conclusion. This just took to listening to those involved and understanding the locker room culture. NFL lawyers like Wells were too interested in serving a convenient target like Incognito on a public platter to stop all the ugliness from the league. And again, this man has been very upset since this happened. His 144-page report failed miserably, and the Dolphins honestly have failed mightily. Ross surrendered the investigation from the start to the league rather than doing some work himself. That always would have been the better way to go for his employees, at least. There was always a bully in Bullygate, though. Obviously, it was the league and the Dolphins for embracing a lie that changed the football careers and full lives of people who couldn't fight back from Incognito to O'Neal to offensive line coach Jim Turner. They lost their jobs. John Jerry and Mike Pouncey and other support staff had reputations changed while being mentioned in various ways in the Wells report. This was during the Joe Philbin era, which is easily the worst coaching era in my time being a Dolphins fan. But Coach Philbin was forever asked about that season why he didn't have control of his locker room. There was truth in that. But the larger truth regarding the Bullygate is it was never a story about bullying, racial taunting, awful locker room culture, or a coach's indiscretion, all of which became pop psychology conclusion in the moment. Nolan Carroll, I remember this guy very well. Safety on the team, mentioned the careers affected by Bullygate on Sunday, and he actually wrote on social media of Martin where he remembered when Martin was crying leaving the locker room because he wasn't playing good and didn't bother to work himself out of a hole. He just ran like a coward, admitting this lie does nothing. I never respected him, never will. And what Jonathan Martin caused from this was, again, just this offensive line for Miami was the greatest offensive line in my time being a fan. That was the start of the downfall of this Dolphins offensive line, severely. That was the prevailing idea inside the Dolphins from the start. There's another way to see this that has come out through the years. Incognito and Martin have probably been on opposite sides of emotional spectrums, one loud and coarse and the other quiet and sensitive. But they're victims in different manners too, no matter how few went to see Martin as one today. Martin, like Incognito, did suffer from mental health issues. Incognito was public about his problems. Martin's health blindsided coaches and staff in the aftermath of Bullygate, in which they wished they'd known. So Martin dropped out of football and the news cycle after football until an alarming social media post in 2018. Quote unquote, when you're a bully victim and a coward, your options are suicide or revenge, he wrote with the picture of a shotgun while mentioning Incognito Pouncey in his high school, Harvard Westlake School. The man hospitalized himself in that aftermath. He went on to do financial work centering on cryptocurrency. And as for Incognito, he was suspended for 8 games that became a lost year of football before having 3 Pro Bowl seasons in Buffalo and with the Oakland Raiders. This bit the Dolphins back in the ass, that's for sure. One of the great offensive linemen, man. Bullygate never ended for him, for sure, though. He made mistakes inside the team back then, he did. But he hit the target best Sunday when he wrote the Wells report. Quote unquote, reading this right now when he... Okay, here it is. A bunch of lawyers came in and tried to understand the culture of an NFL locker room. They made a mountain out of a molehill while being directed by Martin's parents. The report crushed us both. The lawyers wanted to protect the NFL and the Dolphins. They didn't give two shits to check any of the wild claims made by Martin in his camp. They took everything I said and they used it against me. I was trying to tell the truth. Martin saying it was all a lie from the start can't walk back a decade of consequences. It just injects a truth that there was to see all along. And this guy was not good. He was horrible. But this impacted the Dolphins as a team so badly. They had a rough year. It wasn't as bad as the record looks like. They went 8-8 that year. But they had such a good team on paper. If it had not been for a scandal like this, their season could have turned out completely different than what it unfortunately unfolded to be. And that's why that 2013 Dolphins team is the biggest what if in franchise history. So I'm interested to see how the rest of this situation plays out. we will see as time flies. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I know this was a little bit of a longer video than normal, but I think this is a really good video to make, fun, talk about. So, that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.